Hello, it is September 30th, 2017, and I am here today to shoot some final footage of Killecran Nog to have for posterity for Elizabeth LaRue and her yet-to-be-born sibling, who is about 5 months or so along in my belly right now. So this is Killecran Nog. It was built by your great-great-uncle Don in the 1950s. He started with this main part of the cabin here, and then he later added on the back porch and the front porch. And as he liked to say, he built the whole thing without a single power tool, which is pretty impressive. Also impressive was that he was a science teacher by trade, didn't really know much about construction when he started, or plumbing or electrical, but knew a whole lot more when he finished. So let's take a look inside and see what there is to see. You can tell that your Papa Moose has already started to take some of the trim down and things like that, and get rid of some of the stuff. So looks a little different, but pretty much the same. So we're coming up to the front porch now. This wooden bear, Uncle Don got out of a parking lot in Spokane after he'd had a massive heart attack and open heart surgery, and he and your great-grandmother were driving along, and I guess he saw it and wanted it, and so here it came out to the cabin. We'll go up here onto the front porch. You can see it's nice and screened in here. Here we've got the matriarch's chair, where I remember your great-grandmother sitting and looking out at the view. And apparently her mother sat here before her, and your Nana sat here, Elizabeth, and rocked you when you were tiny. And it's just fun. Here's a little wheel that Papa put up for Elizabeth to play on. And just kind of see some more stuff. Picnic table back here. The front porch is probably where we spent the majority of our time. It's nice and shady and cool. It's the infamous fan that Uncle Don installed and spray painted during dinner one night, much to Nana's chagrin. She tried to cover the food that was on the table there while he was spray painting. Here's an original ski. That'll probably be part of the new cabin, but that was something that Uncle Don built himself. Here's the original front door. That was the front door before the front porch was added on. And just see a little bit more here. Here's the map of the lake where I learned all the geography of Lake Coeur d'Alene looking at that as a little kid. And flags that go outside when we fly them. And more Scottish stuff. Front porch is a good place to sleep too. Sometimes I would roll the cot out here and get to watch the sunrise that would come up right over those hills over there. So then from the front porch, we go on into the main room of the cabin. And this room I remember most for being super cozy and warm when it was cold outside and rainy, or in the winter. Because a lot of times your dad and I would come out in the winter, build a big wood fire in the stove, and play board games, and just kind of hang out. It was pretty nice in here. But that's what I remember most about how cozy this would be with a fire going in this room. There used to be a round table here in the corner, which now your Great Aunt Sandy and Great Uncle Bruce have over in their cabin. And there was a cabinet here too that they also have, famous for your great-grandmother putting her dinner inside of it one night on a particularly chaotic evening. And I believe someone had spilled food and then she couldn't find her dinner plate and it was in the cabinet, lo and behold. Here's some science equipment that your Papa Moose saved from the tool shed, which we'll see later, and from Uncle Don's science lab down in his basement. So here's that wood stove that would make this room so cozy. We almost melted candles, or we did melt candles, I should say. We got it so warm in here one night. This chair is surprisingly comfortable for how ugly it is. You can see the outline on the wall. There used to be some Scottish crests up here. We still have one of those at home. I'll show you someday. So here is the one and only bedroom with the curtains that I attempted to make. You can see those were more successful than these over here that I failed to measure correctly. This room used to have a really funky light in the ceiling. with weird like dragonfly creatures on it. Also had some black curtains with red and green and just splotches. And when I was little, this is where I slept with your Nana. We would sleep in here, and I didn't like to go to sleep, so I would keep myself awake by telling stories about the creatures on the curtains and on the light that was up here. I also believe these walls were originally a terrible shade of green. But anyway, other memories of this room include when my grandfather would come in and wake me up and take me to go get a treat in the boat at sunup, and the paper for the adults so that they could have their paper. So there's the bedroom. And here is the closet. I slept in here as a baby, and so did Miss Elizabeth LaRue. And I would assume Amy and Andrea as well, maybe Emily, although I don't remember that as much. And there's the stairs to the upstairs that we'll pull down here in a minute so you can see what it looks like. This is how we would turn on the water pump, the hot water heater, the upper room outlets, things like that. So just the closet there. Coming around here to the kitchen. Standard kitchen. I must admit, this is the part of Killecran Nog I will miss the least. It's hard to get a good dinner going in here, particularly with this tiny sink. But this sink is special because Amy and Andrea took baths in this sink when they were little babies, and I probably did too. And Elizabeth never did so much. We tended to give you baths outside, but there are some fun pictures of people having baths in this sink. So, fun fact about this is the water would pool and slope down and run here because the counter wasn't even. So, it's kind of a funny fact about that. Just kind of your standard kitchen and counter and window. This window used to open. It doesn't anymore. Apparently someone tried to break in one time, and so Uncle Don nailed it shut. This door, fun fact, Miss Elizabeth, you and your Nana used to play a game where you would stand on the back porch and knock on the door, and Nanny would be in here and open it for you. And you would do that over and over and over, laughing all the time. You thought it was so fun. Okay, so here's the back porch back here. When I was growing up, there used to be two beds back here. The cot, which we'll see in the bunkhouse in a minute, and then one of the other beds that's in the bunkhouse. And my Nana and Papa used to sleep out here, and I always thought it was funny because Nana slept in the bigger bed, even though she was a tiny lady, and Papa slept in the smaller bed. But they would sleep out here, out on the back porch. This is the beverage refrigerator we put in as we got older and were able to enjoy beverages along with the adults. And then here's the bathroom. This is kind of your standard bathroom. Towels. You can see another box here on the floor. The thing I remember most about this from being little is that Uncle Don used to have on the wall here a cup dispenser, and it would have in it these little tiny plastic cups. And I thought those were the coolest things ever because they were just my size. They were so small. You can see the sink is pretty short too. Elizabeth, at 2.5, you can reach the sink even without a stool, so you can tell how short it is. But it was funny that the cups were here because the water in this cabin didn't come from a well. It came from the lake. So we couldn't drink the water. So it was funny that you would have cups for drinking even though you couldn't drink the water. So we'll go out the back porch now. Go out of the back porch. And we'll walk over towards the bunkhouse. So here's the bunkhouse, and this was originally built as your Uncle Don's tool shed, so the family legend goes. And when Amy and Andrea were born, Nana and Papa decided that they needed more space for sleeping, so they came out and turned it from a tool shed into a bunkhouse. So come in here, and this is where Elizabeth LaRue and your dad and I slept this last summer at Killecran Nog. 2 beds in here. Here's the cot that I used to wheel out to the front porch where Elizabeth slept this summer after she outgrew the prack and play. You can see a little closet in here. We kept things in here like life jackets, things like that. It's a little rocking chair. When you were a tiny baby, Elizabeth, Mommy would sit here and rock you in the middle of the night and feed you. So yeah, the bunkhouse used to actually have bunk beds in here. They were these orange metal things, and oh, they creaked and squeaked, and they were pretty funny though. But these blankets on the foot of the beds were what we used as bedspreads on the original beds on the back porch. This one was on the smaller cot, and then this one was on the bigger bed over there. So anyway, you can see the bunkhouse here. Dinosaurs that I actually played with as a little girl down in the sand, and that Elizabeth LaRue enjoys playing with as well. So, yep. There's the bunkhouse. So beyond the bunkhouse is the tool shed that Uncle Don built after the bunkhouse became the bunkhouse. And we'll go in here. This place, I am kind of amazed, has never caught fire. It always smells like gasoline and oil, probably from years of it being spilled on the floor. You can still see some of the gas cans here. So this was a tool shed. I think this was one of your Papa Moose's funnest things he ever did, was get in here and clean it out after Uncle Don died and organize all the tools. He thought that was pretty fun. So here is the tool shed. Lots of stuff in there. Behind the tool shed used to be the lean-to, and we used to store old motors for boats and some yard tools and things like that out there. But it's already been taken down. So there's the tool shed.
Okay, this is the Killecran Nog cabin. It's last year as Elizabeth knew it. You came in the back door. There's the front, down to the lake. So we come in the back door. And you can see the bathroom right in front of us. This is the back porch, microwave and the refrigerator. Kind of a storage place, a pantry. We used to have a bed out here, but that's now in the bunkhouse. Here's all of our storage stuff. And you walk from the back door right into the kitchen. Here's the kitchen. Here's the lovely little sink. And the shelves that Moose built. Up there to that. There's the Moose corner. Kitchen, refrigerator, our counter, and another little shelf, pantry shelf. There were peeps. We kept the peeps that Elizabeth liked. Okay. Then you go from the kitchen into the living area. Here's our shelving there. Elizabeth's toys. And now we're looking in the living room through to the screen porch. Walk in here. Maybe we can see the nice beautiful day, sparkly day at the lake. Here's looking up down the bay. And then we look through the window to the porch, and there's up the bay. There's our desk. You walk out the porch. There's our dock that's been put away. It's just the pier. It's the end of the season. The chairs. Look up at the ceiling. Moose's lights. And the ducky. And then we'll go back into the living room. And we'll look at the bed. One bedroom. Little desk, or dresser, I mean. Is it? There's our hanging that Tim Herman made for us. Just big enough pretty much for a little queen-size bed. And that's about it. Okay, then we go out here. And then we go, there's the wood stove. There is Uncle Don's shelf. And here's the closet where Elizabeth slept in her playing pack till she got to be too big. Water heater, and up above are the steps up to the attic.
Here's a view of the closet with the stairs down, and we'll do another view with the stairs up here in a minute. So this is the attic, and this is up above the main part of the cabin, and this was always my favorite place to sleep. With the windows open, you can hear the lake and the wind and the trees, and it's a very nice thing to wake up to. This bed is also one of the more comfortable beds in the cabin. Great for jumping on when I was little. And you could fit like 4 little girls on this when I would have sleepovers out here, which was totally lots of fun. There used to be 2 other beds up here. One right along here, and then another one kind of in the corner over here. Now we just have a lot of storage up here. And the fans really help to keep it cool. But the other funny thing is hard to get down those stairs in the middle of the night, so we did tend to have some sort of a porta potty up here as well. You can see the stairs going down to the main part of the cabin. So again, just another fun place to play up here. More funky posters from Uncle Don, his wildlife. That radioactive stuff. But anyway, the attic. Kind of hear the water, the best part.
Okay, Elizabeth, this is the porch at the old cabin, and this is where you took your first steps. Yeah, how about that, huh? Yeah. Here we are, we're looking down. There's your little wheel that Papa got you so you could play the wheels on the bus go round and round. And Nanny and Papa were here, and Daddy was sitting right there on the bench, and Mommy was right about here, and you took your first steps from that bench back down to Mommy and back again. It was about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, that you did that, in 2016. Yeah, so this is where you learned how to walk. It's where we had all these fun things hanging up on the walls. All sorts of signs, Killecran Nog. Yeah. Kind of a little eccentric throw-together porch. This is what it looked like. And there's the infamous fan. We'll tell you the story about the fan someday. And the ski that Uncle Don built. There we go. It's kind of a blustery day here. Yeah, it's 1st of October, 2017.
All right, so to close, just kind of walk around the outside the cabin so we can get another view. I believe this is the cesspool cover right here. We didn't have a septic in this cabin. It was a cesspool that was basically just tightly fitted stones in the ground. We'd have to put in bacteria and whatnot to make sure that the good bacteria ate the bad bacteria. I'll walk around here. There's all kinds of fun things under the cabin. Storage and lack of foundation. Actually, this cabin is held up by a cement-filled barrel and a couple tree stumps. If you go down under there and look, you can see the original supports resting on that barrel and on those tree stumps, which is kind of funny, but hey, worked for 60 some years. The old pump house used to be down closer to the water. Again, that's the pump where we get our drinking water from. Used to also actually match the main cabin. It was green with a red roof on it, but that fell apart over the years, and so we sort of improvised with what it is now. And the picnic table, and a view of the front again. It's Papa's chimenea that he got at a garage sale, and you can see the Graves' first cabin, their south cabin, before they bought Mrs. Pratt's on the other side and made it their north cabin. And then just the view, which hasn't changed a whole lot. You know, more cabins on the other side than when I first remember, and more then than from what your nanny remembers, I'm sure. But there it is. A lot of great memories here. We will miss you, Killecran Nog, but it's time to move on.